Hey guys, this is Dan from Sunday Night Games. I saw a question on Reddit about moving two actors at the same time, and I thought I would try it out with threads. So I haven't seen a lot of examples of threads on any videos, so I just wanted to give a short little example of how I found how to use threads in GB Studio. So let's take a look. Okay, first I'm going to select this actor here. So I've got just two regular actors. I think they're pretty much blank. I just set the sprite sheet to be this little orc that I've got in my game. And I'm only going to really add a lot of logic to one of the characters. So I think that's probably a good idea because that way just one actor is controlling the logic for both of them. So you know that it's going to be synced up. Otherwise, sometimes with actors, if they go off screen, then they'll just stop doing their logic unless you have, keep running while off screen. But if you keep all the logic in one actor, then it's pretty much going to happen at the same time, or at least it should. So first I'm going to make it pretty simple. I'm going to say on update. So just like that character, on update, I'm going to add event, and I'm going to say thread start. And for the thread handles, there are two temporary variables. So I'm going to use both of these temporary variables. I think that should work fine for our purposes. But I think if I had more threads, I could use other variables like these local variables or something like that. But I think since we've already got these two temporary variables, they should be fine. So the thread variable, I think, is just how GB Studio tracks what's happening in the thread, or maybe just that the thread exists. But I'm going to say, temp0, add event, and I'm going to say move, actor move relative. So I'm just going to say 2. So it's going to move 2 tiles to the right for the X tiles. And then, so right now, if I do this, it's not really going to do what we want, because if you see, if I run it, I'm going to go back. Okay, so we've got the, and it probably just ran all the way off to the right. So yeah, it already ran all the way off to the right. And it's just going to kind of repeat that. Let me actually move my start position over to here and just run that again. So, so yeah, you can see it just immediately just runs all the way over to the right, super fast, which, is pretty cool. But I kind of want it to go one way and then back the other way. So if I go back to that same actor, another thing I forgot to show is, so as I look at what's going on in the game, you can see there's actually 4 threads, or 3 to 4 threads running, and you can even see the values of these threads. So it's not ending the thread, which is another thing you've got to do. Or stopping the thread, I guess. So I'm going to go back here, and so this is going to run in the background, which is what a thread does. I'm going to add another event, insert event after, and I'm going to say stop thread. So it's going to do that move and then stop the thread. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move it back and then stop the thread again. So I'm going to copy this whole event, self move relative, paste event after, and I'll just do -2. Yeah, it'll use that same, it's in the same thread. I think probably I'm going to start a new thread to do this, but let's just see what that does. So yeah, that kind of is doing what I want. But I think what I really want to do is have it move to the right and then stop the thread and then start a new thread to move it to the left. So I'm going to put a kind of delay between those. So also it's going super fast for some reason. So I'm going to X out of that. Let me actually look at how many threads there are. Okay, so yeah, you can see there's 16 threads kind of running all at the same time. It's just kind of going wacky there. So let me close that, and I'm going to just copy this whole thread start, copy the event, And then I'm going to paste the event after. And yeah, I'm going to get rid of this, move. I'm going to delete this one from here, and then I'm going to delete the first one from the second thread. Delete event. And I'm going to insert a wait. So insert event before. I'm going to say wait. I'll just say like 0.5 seconds. That's fine. So now it's going to wait and then move, -2 and then stop the thread. So since it's doing on update, it's going to run pretty much every frame. But if you do a wait, it will kind of do a separation between those two things. So you can see it's kind of not really doing what I want either. It's, bumping up the number of threads. It's just moving to the right and then moving to the left. So we have to figure out a way to actually do this correctly. So I'm going to copy this wait because basically this thread is starting and then immediately it is starting the next thread. So let's go ahead and paste event after. So now it's going to wait half a second between each one and then also between the next one. So let me run that again. So now this is what I'm talking about. So it is doing the thread, waiting a whole second, and then starting a new thread. So the nice thing with threads, and you can actually see it's actually ending the thread. So we just have one thread, it stops, and then one thread, and it stops again. So it's not adding a bunch of threads or anything like that. What we want to do now is do a separate thread. I guess 2 separate threads for this other character. So I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to close this. It's kind of distracting. I'm going to just copy this. So actually, I'm going to copy the whole thread. So copy that whole thread, copy event, and then just paste event before or after. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to change the temporary variable, though. So temp1, I'm going to change this one to temp1 as well. And then instead of self actor 3, I'm going to do actor 4, which should be this other actor right here. And yeah, I'm going to go back to this first actor. So this actor on the left here is going to handle the movement for the one on the right and also itself, which is pretty ideal, I think. And so I'm stopping that thread within this thread, which is great. And then it's going to wait, and then it's going to do 2 separate threads. So I'm going to copy this thread as well. So copy event, and I'll just paste it before to keep it the same. Change that to temp1, change that to actor 4. So now let's try to run the game again. And you can see it is working beautifully. And you can also see the number of threads. So now it's doing 3 threads total, besides the main game thread. It's doing these 2 threads, and they're running at the same time. If you want to have them facing the same direction, I think the original Reddit post was about like a tug of war type thing. I think the best way to do that is actually with animation states. So the problem with, setting the direction is, GB Studio really wants, like if this character is moving to the left, it really wants to make it face the left. With this one on the right, you can kind of get it to face the left the whole time because it has its own kind of on update. So I could, go to this guy and say on update direction, set actor direction, make it face the left. And then if I run that, it's going to pretty much force it to be on the left. But you can see it flips for like 1 frame right there to kind of face the right as it starts turning. So it really wants it to face the correct direction whenever you do that set actor position relative. So what I want to do is probably do an animation state. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back to my sprite. And I actually added an extra frame here for facing to the left. And then I've already got the one for facing to the right, but I went ahead and edited it to add that facing to the left. Because usually with these sprite sheets, it just has facing one direction, and then you just like flip right and left. And then I just made 2 animation states, and I can actually just delete those and make them again. So I would make an animation state called face left, and I'll say face left, and then I'll make one called face right. Rename that to face right. And then in here, I would actually just, you could do an animated, if you want it to be walking or something like that. But I think for now, I'll just do face left right there. And for face right, I'll just have face right. So if these animation states are set, then it's not, they've only got one direction. So it's just this animation type fixed direction. So it's not going to, turn left or turn right, just based on, the logic inside GB Studio. So if it starts walking to the left, it doesn't have a walking left. It only has this animation state, so it's going to be facing the correct direction. So if I go back to the game world, what I'm going to do is not even on update. I'm going to just get rid of this. You just need to do it on initialize. So on init, I'll just search for state, actor animation state. And the state is, I believe this is the one on the right, so it's going to be facing the left. So face left. And then this one over here, actually, I'm going to go back to here, just copy this event, go back to this first one on init, and I'll paste that, the little button right there. And the self is going to be facing right. So face right. So now if I run the game, you can see it's now, going left, right, and they're all facing the correct direction. So it's kind of a tug of war type scenario. If I wanted to make this more complicated, I could kind of let the player control it. So, just assuming that, one of these players was like the tug of war type player, I could, just set one of the buttons to kind of increase the amount that it gets pulled one direction. So that's going to be a little complicated, but you should understand kind of how threads work now. But I'll just go ahead and do that complicated thing. That sounds fun. So I'm going to close this, and let's see. I'm going to go to the player, and I've got all this stuff. This is part of the tutorial that I'm building, the action adventure tutorial. So I've already got attach script to B button. So I'm going to say attach script to A button just for this example video. So I will add event, attach script to button. I'll just say the A button. That sounds pretty good. And on press. So first I'm going to have on press is going to add to a variable. So I'm going to rename one of the variables. I'm just going to say, actually, I think I can do increment variable. So variable increment by 1. I'll just, I think I'm going to use a global variable just to keep it simple. So variable 4, I'll just rename that to pull power or something like that. So basically, every time you press the A button, it's going to increase pull power by 1. And then I just need to kind of calculate the actual X value depending on the pull power. So let's see, and I could, I'm thinking about how to make the enemy also pull. I guess let's see, I could increment it to increase the pull power so that would pull to the right. And then every so often the enemy would also decrement the pull power. So it would, on update, just decrease that. So you would basically be tapping really quickly to fight against, the enemy who is also decrementing at the same time. And then depending on that pull power, you would, and I wouldn't do like a 1-to-1 ratio, maybe like 10-to-1. So it would increase the amount of pull each way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that looks good. A button is going to increment pull power by 1. And then to actually set that variable, let's see. I'm going to make use another variable here. So I'm going to rename this to pull power distance. And let's see, do I have anything in the, um, okay, so right here, I can use this character to kind of calculate this because it doesn't have anything in the on update. This one, I think it's already got all the movement stuff on the on update. But if I use this character, then it can just calculate the actual pull power distance. So let's think about the logic here. I think I'm just going to do a few if statements. So I'm going to say add event, if, let's say if. So first of all, I'm going to check the pull power. So if pull power is less than, I'll say -10, then I'm going to do something. And I think I can just, get rid of this elf. I'm just going to do like 3 if statements. So, oh no, I deleted the event. Didn't mean to do that. I'm going to remove the else, disable else. Then I'm going to add another event, if, and I'll do if it is greater than, I will say, okay, hold on. I thought I did -10 there. So I'm going to say, if pull power is less than -10, I'm going to do something. And then if it is greater than, I'll say greater than or equal to, just to cover all my cases, greater than or equal to -10, I'm going to do something and also disable the else. So it's going to run through all 3 of these ifs, and that's fine because I kind of want it to go in order, I think, for the logic. And then if it is greater than, comparison, greater than 10, then it's going to do something else. So disable else. That looks pretty good. So if it's less than -10, I think I'm going to have the actual pull power distance. I'm going to set that set variable to value. I'm going to set pull power distance to, let's see, -1. And if it is greater than -10, I'm going to add an event. I'm just going to copy this. So copy this event and then paste it here. I'm going to set the value to 0. So basically, if it's between -10 and 10, then it's not going to kick off this one. It's not going to be greater than 10. And then that's going to be 0. And then I'm going to paste it here as well. So I'm going to say pull power distance is 1. So if it's greater than 10, then it's 1. But first, it's going to set the value to 0. And I think to just kind of protect the logic here, I'm going to add a wait. So I'm going to do insert event after. I'll just say wait point. I'll just do 0.1 seconds. So this way it's not updating like constantly. It's going to only update 10 times a second, which I think honestly will still be fine. Okay, so I think I just changed that to 0.1 for some reason. But the wait is down here, so wait for 0.1 seconds. And that looks pretty good. So I don't think I'm going to make any more changes right now, except for going back to the actual character that's controlling all this. So it's doing, movement based on a number. I'm going to change that to a variable and just choose that pull power distance. And I'm going to do it for all of these. So variable, pull power distance. And so instead of, just calculating it directly or doing it directly on there, it's going to look at that variable that I calculated. Pull power distance, and I'll just press run and just see what happens. Okay, so currently nothing is happening. So let's see, this is my sword button, so it's probably the Z button. If I just press that, so I just pressed that 10 times, or maybe 11 or 12, I don't know. But now you can see it's going over to the right, and that'll probably end up actually Okay. So yeah, it kind of gets wonky once it gets all the way over to the right. But that seems to work pretty good. So I'm going to, and actually, let me just double check that there's not just a bunch of threads. Um, okay, so that's probably fine, how that currently works. And I'm going to close that. And actually, what else I'm going to do is, since I've got that HUD down there, and this is from my tutorial, my HUD tutorial. Let me go to this one, and yeah, I'm going to update the HUD. So I'm just going to call script insert event before. I think I can just actually type update HUD right here. Call script update HUD, and it's going to update the HUD. And on update HUD, I'm going to actually go to that script, and I'm going to add another variable here, var, and I think it's pull distance. Let me just go back there and check pull power distance, actually. Pull power distance. And you can check that variable value if you go back to the actual variable and do the drop down, view GBVM symbols. And yeah, that's var pull power distance. So if I go back to that update HUD, I actually need to change this to VM load text 2, since there's two variables here. And then the second variable is going to be this pull power, so that's %d, and I'm going to do like %d1. I'll just say power, and then do that %d1. Actually, I'll do 2, so it'll have 2 digits there. So let me just press that run again. Okay, and actually in my current game, this font is actually, it's got a 1 and a 0 that are actually hearts. So, and you can see that in my other tutorial. But if I increase that just by pressing the button, so now you can see it's increasing a little bit. So actually, no, I don't need to do the pull power distance. I need to just do the pull power. So if I go to pull power, then I can run that. So it was just doing the distance, which is just up to 1. So if I start pressing the button now, you can actually see that that's increasing. So when it gets to 9, so this is 0, 9. And then if I do it again, that'll be 1, 0. Actually, it'll just be a full heart and an empty heart. So I just pressed it again. So now it's got a 1. It's got a 1 pull power. And now you can see it's, oh, right. So if it's above 10, so it has to be 11. And then you can see it goes all the way up to, yeah, like 20, 30, 40. So now this is a nice way to actually track what the pull power is. So you can actually see that as I, oh, right. And if I press it over here, these characters are actually out of the visible area. So I'm not actually able to update that HUD unless I am close enough. It's still adding to the variable since it's a global variable. So I'm just tapping my, I guess, A or B button. And then if I go back here, it actually, I think it's like 100 or something right now. So if I press that a few more times, yeah, so it's probably like 106, since it's only got 2 digits though. It's not showing those. So let me actually go back and make a couple changes there. Yeah, I will go to this actor right here, and I'm just going to add an update to this random actor. I mean, you could add a separate actor if you just want an actor to kind of keep track of, or to increase basically for the opposing team. So if I add an event, I'm going to just do, I think, decrement, value decrement by 1, and that'll be pull power. So I'm going to do a wait and add event wait. I'll just say every half second, it just decrements by 1. So let's just kind of see what happens there. So yeah, you can see it's yep, doing that pull power. And so now if I tap my Tug of War button really quickly, I can get that to increase. So I'm basically fighting against this computer, which is also kind of pulling down there. And I might limit like what the number can get to. So, because right now it's like taking a really long time to actually get back down to, -10. So I might actually just change how those numbers work. So I'm going to go back to right here, and I'm just going to change these. So if it's less than or equal to, I'll just say -1, honestly. Less than or equal to -1, or if it's greater than, actually, yeah. So I'm going to do, if it's less than -1, then it's going to go minus. If it's greater or equal to -1, then it's going to just change it to 0. And then if it is greater than 1, then it's going to add 1. So yeah, I could probably just, and actually I'm going to limit what it gets set to. So I'm going to say if it's less than, actually, let's see. Actually, I'm going to put that logic where it's actually incrementing or decrementing. So I'm going to say if, I'm going to insert event before. So on this one that's decrementing. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is once it decrements, then I'm going to say if the pull power is less than -1, I'll just say negative. Yeah, I'll say -1. If it's less than -1, then I'm going to just set it to be -1. So variable set to value. So I'm going to set pull power. So if pull power is less than -1, I'm just going to set pull power to -1. So that'll kind of limit it. I actually don't know if there's a limit. So rate limit. I don't know if there's a way to set like a clamp or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if anything like that is built in. So I'm just going to kind of clamp it myself. So if it's less than -1, I'm just going to set the value to -1. And I can just disable the else there. So yeah, it's going to decrement it. And then if it decrements it below -1, then it's just going to set it to -1. So if I go back to the logic for this one, let's see, no, that's the thread one. So if it's less than -1, I'm going to actually set this to less than or equal to. That way it'll include -1 because it is going to just set it to -1. And then for this one, I'm going to change that to greater than -1. So basically if it's 0, I could actually probably set that to just if the thing is 0. And honestly, since I'm clamping it, I could probably just get rid of the pull power distance since it's not really anything. It shouldn't be anything different than 1 or 0 or -1. But I think for now, I'll just keep it kind of how it is. And then I've got the attach script to a button. I'm going to copy that same logic from this one. So if pull power is, I'm going to copy that and yeah, add it to the player. And I will just, after I increment it, I will paste that event. So paste event after. If comparison is greater than 1, then I'm going to set the value to 1. So basically it's either going to be -1 or 1. That way you can't get a lot higher and lower. So then you could just let go of your controller for a second. So you're basically constantly fighting against the computer. So if I just keep tapping it, okay. So I think it's not. working. I might just have a, yeah, so it's actually wrong here. So this should be greater than or equal to, so greater or equal to, and let me try that again. Okay, so now if I tap it, if it's greater than or equal to, then pull power is 1, and I probably need to change the logic for the movement. So let me go back to the, what controls the movement right here? Yeah, so this one also needs to be greater or equal to 1, and then pull power distance will be 1. And let's try that one more time. Okay, let me move that over here and start tapping. Okay, so now that I'm tapping it, you can see they're both moving. I think that's, yeah, the same distance. And that looks pretty good. So, yeah, and I wonder if, okay, that seems to be working pretty good. So now I'm just having to tap my A button or B button. It's actually Z on my keyboard. But if I tap it, then my power is positive, so it goes up to 1, and then this is actually -1, so it's like a negative heart, which is pretty funny. Because yeah, if you watch my other tutorial, I used the 1s and 0s to actually track the health in this HUD down here. Pretty exciting. So yeah, that Tug of War mechanic works pretty good, I would say. And if I want to make it harder, I could just decrease the, let's see. So right now it waits for half a second. I could make that down to 0.1. And let me put my player kind of where I could see it, because it's going to start moving immediately. And yeah, so right now I have to tap it really fast, and I'm not able to get it. Dang it, it's too hard. I can't tap 10 times per second. My skills with Mario Party are lacking here. I'm going to change that to 0.3. No, wait, is this the right place to change that? So, oh yeah, I think it's on this decrement right here. So if I change that decrement to 0.3, let me try that. And then if I start tapping it, then you can see I start winning. That's good. So yeah, that's definitely doable. And I do have to remember it's a little harder to tap on the actual, like the Game Boy, instead of just like a keyboard. But yeah, you can see it's pretty difficult, but not too difficult. If I want to make it a little bit harder, maybe 0.2. I don't know if I could do like 0.25 or something like that. That might make it pretty good. So yeah, really have to tap it pretty fast to actually start winning. Oh yeah, this feels pretty good. You can see they start winning, but if you start tapping, then you start winning. Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, that went on way too long, but that's a pretty good tutorial for how threads work. I didn't really see a lot of videos that cover threads for GB Studio. Maybe they're out there, I just missed them. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically this character starts a bunch of threads, and then it waits for half a second and then does another thread. And yeah, at this point, we probably don't even need. Yeah, I wonder actually if I just disable this. I'm going to delete this thread, actually. Just delete that whole thread start, delete that whole thread start, delete this whole wait. And I wonder if I change that. So this will actually make the game over faster. So yeah, you can see it's like pulling, and then if I tap it, it'll really just move a lot faster. And yeah, I don't need those 2 threads because I don't have different, or I don't need like a wait and then, a separate move left, because it's just moving based on the variable. So now if I tap it, you can see it's just moving a lot faster. And yeah, so then, you would need some logic probably, like once it reaches over here, you would, at a certain point, if the actor was at um, a certain distance, then you would lose or you would win, based on, if this was like a tug of war type game. So yeah, that's a pretty good tutorial. I think I learned a lot, so hope you guys did too. Be sure to smash whatever buttons you see on your YouTube, just any buttons you feel like, really. And I'll see you guys in the next video.